Some sources claim that the devil of the Bible and Quran is actually a reptilian extraterrestrial. According to these accounts, there are at least 16 different types of reptilian beings, some lizard-like, others humanoid in appearance, who have interbred with humans to the point of near indistinguishability. Reptilian features reportedly include cold-blooded physiology requiring environmental balance, long, thin arms ending in 3 webbed fingers and an opposing thumb, cat-like eyes, slit mouths with differentiated teeth, and scaled, waterproof skin, average heights of 6 to 8 feet, with some possessing vestigial wings, as well as advanced hibernation abilities suited for space travel. These beings, sometimes called Dracos or Valkyria, are said to originate from a spiral galaxy known as Dracos and communicate primarily on what humans call the astral plane. The gargoyles, winged reptilians with specialized mings, or skin flaps supported by elongated ribs of Dracona, have long been linked to the legends of vampires. If we examine the word vampire, we find hidden meaning. Vam relates to Vulcan and pyre to empire. In Old English, the letters A and E were interchangeable, making the word V-Empire, or Vulcan Empire. Today, individuals suffering from disorders like hemophilia, conditions that create an unending need for blood, are seen by some as the modern descendants of these so-called vampires. Even the infamous name Dracula is tied to this lineage, deriving from the word meaning son of the Draco. Their elite leaders, the Draconis, trace their origins to the Draco system, part of the Orion constellation, which consists of 6 suns and 6 star systems, home to diverse life forms. These beings are humanoid in shape but reptilian in heritage. One notable figure was Yaa-Nun, a former leader who defected from the reptilians while on Earth. He reformed and took command of the Ashtar fleet, fighting on behalf of humanity against his own kind. Some reptilians are neutral-gendered and reproduce similarly to lizards. Collectively, they are often called the dragon race, and their symbolism is closely tied to the winged serpent. Not all of them, however, possess wings. Certain classes, particularly the elders and scientists, do not. Evidence of their presence on Earth has even surfaced in modern times. One being, codenamed Sodden, was labeled an EBE, extra biological entity, after surviving a UFO crash near Mexico City in the 1950s. 3 others with him died. His remains were reportedly sent either to Germany for study or to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. This incident even inspired popular culture, with tabloids turning the Bat Boy character into a symbol of this strange hybrid lineage. The reptilians have also been linked to the Dogon tribe of Mali, Africa. According to oral traditions, amphibious beings known as the Namos emerged from the waters, claiming to be instructors and lawgivers. They promised guidance, but only if the Dogon revealed the locations of sacred caves where the Kumardimi's people dwelled. These Namos, often identified as reptilians, lived underwater by day and emerged at night to instruct the Dogon in astronomy and cosmology. Their star maps, created without telescopes, remain astonishingly accurate even today. These beings are not confined to myths alone. Sightings of their activity continue worldwide. Reports describe underwater bases beneath Lake Ontario, with decades of UFO encounters witnessed on both the Canadian and US sides. Similar activity has been documented in Puerto Rico, particularly around the Fosa de San Juan, where ships have been seen entering and leaving the sea. Reptilians are said to communicate telepathically, often implanting thoughts into the human mind to influence behavior. They are described as a highly disagreeable, predatory species that views humans as little more than food. Crossbreeding with humans has left behind traces in our genetics: flattened skulls, webbed fingers, elongated nails, and skin conditions like eczema and ichthyosis. Some extreme cases, such as children born in India with scaly, reptile-like skin, are cited as living evidence of this hybridization. Other anomalies also suggest ancient extraterrestrial presence. Tribes like the ostrich people of Zimbabwe retain genetic mutations such as 2-toed feet, which they attribute to encounters with a spinning suit that descended from the sky centuries ago. Fossil evidence in Denmark points to the existence of dinosaur people 12 to 15 feet tall, with advanced tools dating back 50 million years, implying an intelligent reptilian civilization predating humanity. Finally, researchers warn of insectoid and rodent-like extraterrestrials, some resembling grasshoppers or beetles but humanoid in form. Such beings, if united, would vastly outnumber humans. Testimonies even claim Hitler himself encountered reptilians and insectoid beings in underground caverns, where they allied with malevolent extraterrestrials from Orion. In modern conspiracy lore, the reptilians remain central: shapeshifters, underground dwellers, hybridizers of humankind, and symbols of hidden empires that may have guided or manipulated human history from the shadows. The central agreement said to exist between world governments and certain extraterrestrials involves the mining of gold in exchange for human children. The reason goes beyond the metal itself. Within the human body exists a rare chemical compound tied to our genetic makeup. This substance contains coding that these beings cannot generate on their own, though they are able to absorb it. It is unique to humanity, a byproduct of our 22 genetic lines combined with the primate lineage. To this day, no other life form produces it, and no one has been able to replicate it artificially. According to some accounts, these extraterrestrials are waiting for a critical mass of human consciousness to awaken and call for intervention. That moment, they say, may not arrive until after the Hale-Bopp comet's approach, or perhaps after governments and their alien counterparts attempt to stage a false second coming. Predictions place the deadline at August 12, 2003. If those prophecies are accurate, the United States will eventually cease to exist as it does today. In its place will rise the Union of American Republics. Meanwhile, within agencies such as NASA, the CIA, the KGB, and other covert operations, many operatives remain in the dark. They are used as tools, implanted with alien systems, and influenced by Aryan prejudices, indoctrinated to believe themselves a superior race. Yet the truth is hidden from them, and in their separation from reality they live in a world built on illusions. This separation is mirrored in society at large. Youth suicide has surged at alarming rates, and much of the anger boiling in young people arises from dormant DNA beginning to activate. Energy floods their systems, but they lack the understanding to channel it, especially as the pressure of third-density reality weighs heavily upon them. Alex Collier has described encounters with the Andromedans, a race of beings often towering over 9 feet tall. Morani, one of his contacts, measures 7 to 8 feet in height, with a weight equivalent to 450 Earth pounds. Many of their planets are dominated by oceans, where life flourishes both above and below the surface. Even Earth's dolphins, according to this perspective, are the product of genetic blending, part mammal from the Sirian system, part from Cygnus Alpha. The Alpha Draconians, particularly the Raid line, are said to have wings attached at the shoulders and long tails, resembling the pseudo-biblical image of the devil. Within governments, the attitude persists that truth is simply a lie not yet uncovered. Religious communities, then, may be among the hardest hit when their beliefs collapse. And those who remain disengaged from the deeper changes in the world, the people lulled into routine by nightly reruns and shallow distractions, will be caught entirely unprepared. Major upheavals were expected as early as April 1997, aligning with Hale-Bopp's arrival. Collier also referred to a gathering planned for January 1, 2000, when global leaders would meet at the Pyramids of Giza to honor a being presented as the god of the underworld. Alongside these events, Earth itself would undergo crises, famine, floods, plagues, and wars, most of them fought over access to food and water. China, for instance, was predicted to fracture into warring states, eventually deploying nuclear weapons against its own territories. It is said that extraterrestrials avoid intoxicants such as alcohol, sugar, coffee, and chocolate, preferring pure energy untainted by toxins. Those who consume humans show a marked preference for children, whose essence is less polluted. This casts a dark shadow over the mystery of missing children whose faces appear on milk cartons. When asked whether humanity has any defense against these beings, the answer points to the mind. Protection lies in psychic self-defense, surrounding oneself with white light, holding the vision of the highest divine frequencies, and aligning with the higher self. Only through inner strength and clarity of spirit can humans resist the telepathic influence of such entities. Long ago, one might ask, who were the Maldakian, the Mazmakia, or the so-called troglodytes? These beings, also known as Valkuns, were survivors of a cosmic catastrophe. When Nibiru struck their planet over 24 billion years ago, their world was destroyed, yet they endured. The seas of the new planet Tiamat, what we now call Earth, became their refuge. There, they established vast underwater kingdoms, called Yams, living beneath the waves for millions of years. Their base of power lies even today beneath the mysterious waters we call the Bermuda Triangle and the Devil's Triangle. Over time, they developed into intelligent humanoids, abducting humans and mixing their seed with ours. Hairless, short, with large heads and slit mouths, these beings possessed webbed fingers, no teeth, and eyes without pupils. Ancient texts, such as the Holy Tablets, describe their strange forms and connect them to what we know as dragons, Trojans, or Veleks, different names across worlds for the same ancient species. But one might wonder, who are the Greys, and how do they fit into this tale? The Greys were first created by the Anunnaki as scouts and servants. Some of them even trace lineage to dinosaurs, like Caeciliophodon and Tyrannosaurus rex, which were shaped into new forms by cosmic genetic design. When the Rizkians, whose planet Rizk was failing due to a collapsing ozone layer, began mining gold dust to build protective domes, they relied on these Greys as laborers and explorers. Once freed, The Greys scattered, some to the Pleiades, some to Sirius, and some to Arcturus, yet they fell under the domination of reptilian overlords who twisted them through biological experiments into hybrid servants. Not all humans were of interest to the Greys. Their attention focused on specific bloodlines, for not every lineage carried what they sought. This is why most Nuubians were spared from abductions, because they belonged to an elite heritage, one that the visitors recognized as connected to their own design. Instead, the Greys pursued a different strain, the newly bred albinos, who had been intermixing with Aldebarans and certain Pleiadian groups. In exchange for cooperation, the Greys struck secret agreements with earthly leaders. They offered cures for diseases, polio, pneumonia, malaria, and more. In return, they expected access, crystals, ancient artifacts, and even the bodies of fallen extraterrestrials. Yet the bargain was broken. Instead of returning the crystals, humans implanted them into living hosts. Some who carried them became psychic, convinced they were receiving visions from God. Many turned into unexpected prophets and reverends. But there was a darker outcome as well. Some hosts could not contain the energy, and their bodies erupted into flames in what the public was told was spontaneous combustion. The Greys themselves were not uniform. Some were short and frail, dwelling in lower densities of existence, while others were taller, hailing from the Orion constellation. These taller Greys, bluish-gray in tone, maintained underground bases as far away as the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. They were healers, experimenters, and manipulators, growing body parts in fleshy matrices stimulated by electromagnetic charges. Limbs sprouted from torsos, organs were cultivated like crops. This same process birthed robotoids and synthetic beings, blurring the line between life and machine. Governments, locked in fragile treaties, allowed the Greys to continue in order to stave off a planetary takeover. But what sort of beings were these? They wore uniforms, operated within strict military hierarchies, and could expand their mental fields to keep abductees under control. Yet they had weaknesses. A sudden change, a curveball in thought or perception, could confuse them, breaking their telepathic grasp. Reports surfaced across the globe. Soviet tabloids told of strange encounters. 11 young girls in Eastern Europe, ages 14 to 18, claimed to have been seduced by otherworldly beings. One, a 15-year-old named Tanya, spoke of following a glowing craft, stepping into its domed interior, and awakening in a field. 10 months later she gave birth, not to a human child, but to a copper-skinned creature with metallic flesh, orange eyes, and a head too large for its stubby body. Soviet agents seized the infant, along with 10 others like it, spiriting them away to hidden laboratories. Such stories echo ancient accounts. From Babylon to India, from Egypt to South America, legends describe unions between humans and sky beings, producing offspring both divine and monstrous. The Greys were not alone. Reptilian factions and Draco overlords also shaped these events. Some species fed not only on blood but on life force energy itself. Others drew sustenance from radiation, manipulating humans into building nuclear engines of destruction. Beneath the surface of our world, a hierarchy formed, Draco with wings, Draco without wings, the Greys beneath them, and humanity at the bottom. Yet even among Greys there were divisions, some mercenary, some scientists, some hybrids of older species. Nearly 70 varieties exist, and at least 8 still walk this earth. Agreements with governments, stretching back to Eisenhower, allowed them to abduct in exchange for medicine, technology, and toys masquerading as gifts. Aluminum. Plastic. Even the hula hoop. The truth is stranger than the cover stories, for behind the curtain of secrecy, entire bases were built. Area 51, hidden in the Nevada desert, was not merely a testing ground but a labyrinth of 51 levels where human and alien experiments entwined. The cover-up was so effective that even as late as 1985 AD, senior scientists at institutions like the Jet Propulsion Laboratory would look upon clear video evidence of enormous flying discs and still refuse to acknowledge what they saw. One remarked, "I'm not going to assign anything to that phenomenon without a lot more data." It was like staring at a naked emperor and declaring, "He certainly looks naked, but that does not prove he is naked." But pause for a moment, are we truly prepared for the sight of extraterrestrials stepping out of a craft? And if those beings are reptilian in form, towering, scaled, and cold-eyed, and if they regard us not as equals but as food, would humanity be ready to face them? The reptilian species take many shapes. Some resemble humans in body, but their true heritage is reptilian, and it shows in their instincts, their hunger, and their drive. Long ago, such beings agreed to teach humankind primitive sciences, how to hover ships, how to tap atomic power, even formulas intended for healing and defense against disease. Yet humans twisted this knowledge into weapons. Disillusioned, the elder visitors departed Earth, allowing it to spiral toward its own destruction. From the stars they convened a council and created a project known as Yaa-Nun, vowing to return in new incarnations. Bases were established at places like Mount Shasta, a peak long known for its mysteries. By the 1990s, New Age seekers were already flocking to its slopes, drawn by its electromagnetic fields and ancient legends. Local tribes had spoken of spirit battles within the mountain, others whispered that Lemurians lived in vast tunnels beneath. Pilgrims told of golden-haired beings over 7 feet tall, blue-eyed and radiant, seen wandering the forests. What most did not know was that beneath the mountain lay one of the entrances to inner Earth, and deep below rested an ancient computer, a mile long, that had been reactivated in 1994 AD. Its hum resonated across California, even causing loud buzzing noises heard by many. That computer sent signals to approaching craft, guiding them safely into subterranean chambers. Those who ignored the signals risked being destroyed before they could pierce the sky. Were there further attempts at communication with world powers? Indeed, in the 1960s, as turmoil rose and the Vietnam War loomed, contact was sought again. A woman in Maine entered trances, channeling beings of the United Associations of Planets. High-ranking officers, including Colonel Robert Friend, witnessed these sessions. The entity spoke of stars, atomic energy, and peace, insisting that war must cease before escalation. To prove their reality, the officers were told to look out a window, where a luminous craft appeared, later confirmed by radar. When asked whether they favored any race, government, or religion, the answer was no. When asked if a third great war would come, the answer was again no. Yet their warning was clear: humanity was being watched, guided, and tested. But leaders did not listen. After Eisenhower's cautious dealings, warmongers rose to power, descendants of the Maldaccheans, who hated the seed of Adam and wished the planet for themselves. These factions blocked further contact with the elders. Thus the establishment chose silence, refusing to reveal what they knew of extraterrestrials. Only recently have they begun admitting to life beyond Earth. NASA itself has long concealed evidence. The Viking missions of 1976 captured images of the face on Mars and pyramidal structures nearby, evidence of civilizations far older than Earth's. Later leaks revealed entire ruined cities aligned to cosmic geometry. Whistleblowers spoke of airbrushed photographs, astronauts using code words like Santa Claus when encountering fleets of ships, and Apollo missions shadowed by unknown craft. Others claimed radio signals were received from deep within the Earth itself, transmissions from advanced intelligences who knew more about us than we could imagine. Even mainstream newspapers, as far back as 1897, recorded crashes of flying machines in Texas, their pilots' bodies buried quietly in unmarked graves. For a century, truth has surfaced in fragments, only to be buried again. Yet one may ask, how does one tell friend from foe among these beings? The answer whispered by the elders is simple but perilous: those grays with 5 fingers are of the older, benevolent kind, untouched by reptilian manipulation. But you cannot simply approach and count fingers. Intentions remain hidden. For centuries, a conflict has raged, grays twisted by reptilians into aggressive servitors, and those aligned with the Anunnaki who seek balance. And how do we know such things? Because some of us are these beings, incarnated through time, carrying fragments of memory. To recognize this is to understand why knowledge flows so simply. It is recollection, not speculation. I, for one, come from Yaa-Nun, the 8th planet in the 19th galaxy, far beyond this universe. I came with the comet Rennet, carrying 8 distinct personalities, each bearing knowledge, some healers, some historians, some warriors, some extraterrestrial. This is why I am called what I am, an extraterrestrial being, a teacher seated here to raise consciousness before the return of the great crystal city from Nibiru. You possess psychic powers, though most have forgotten how to use them. Yaa-Nun was not chosen at random, nor singled out by chance. Yaa-Nun was bred for a purpose. He is the 19th elder, known also as Mikal, a member of a great star fleet composed of scientists and astrologers. These are the keepers of the Akasha, the Akastic records, the living library of all events across all worlds. They are accountants of eternity, permitted to travel from galaxy to galaxy, recording and preserving, though the length of their stay shifts with the time scales of each star system. On Yaa-Nun's home planet, lifespans stretch into the trillions of years. In physical form they live but 120 cycles, yet once raised into their etheric state they endure beyond measure. Thus, to dwell for 20 years in one system is like a single day by their reckoning. When they come as a collective, an entire company, not lone envoys. So too with Earth, a host descended in etheric form, and the body that was chosen long ago, in 1945 AD, when a vessel was prepared for his entrance. When asked, what is your assignment on Earth? The answer is clear. My duty is to re-spiritually educate the beings of this planet, to reform and renew the story of who you are, the children of the Elohim. I am here to prepare 144,000 for ascension, a 1,000-year sojourn, after which they will return to restore this world. This mission required careful entry. I first came in 1945, seeking the seed in which I would be planted, and I reinserted the hidden gland. The child chosen could not be born in a hospital or under the gaze of earthly doctors. He was delivered in total darkness, in a room without light, as a great star appeared above at midnight on June 26, 1945, a sign witnessed by his family despite the overcast and rain. This time the gland was not placed in the hippocampus, but beneath the chin, in the submental area, where mind and body meet. I returned after August 6th and 9th of that year, when humanity unleashed atomic fire on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It was then apparent that Earth's people were on a path of self-destruction. On September 17th, I joined 10 galactical meetings convened upon this planet, and later I walked openly in Brooklyn, speaking with a child. On his 27th birthday, June 26, 1970, I made full contact, implanting my total essence within him. At first I came only as force, as pure ether. While his mother carried him, I altered the child's nerves, opening channels for higher intellect beyond that of normal Earthborns, whose own barottary glands had long been removed. In the future, this gland will be restored, not in the brain, but again in the submental area, allowing humanity to access more of its latent mind and to balance its multiple bodies: physical, light, spiritual, mental, and etheric. The beings of my world appear human, but they are not entirely so. Their height is near 7 feet, their eyes larger and pupilless, and within them rest additional glands and organs enabling survival in any planetary atmosphere. They are the Elos, the Allah, the Anunnaki, the collective Elohim. And when asked, who are the Anunnaki? The truth is this: the name means those who Anu sent down from heaven to earth. They are the Elohim of Scripture, the Neteru of Kemet, the Din-Nir of Sumer. They are a supreme race of elders. Originally, 10,000 were stationed here to guide humanity. Now, only 24 remain, awaiting the reopening of the vortex on August 12, 2003. To them, 1,000 of your years is but a single day. Some live upon vast starships where they are preserved, others descend in incarnations. Billions of years ago, the Anunnaki reached such mastery over creation that they engineered new species. From their laboratories came the first greys, designed as helpers, vegetarian, high metabolic, peaceful. But when humans were later formed, and reptilians intervened, some greys were abducted, altered, and enslaved. Their genes were rewritten, splitting their kind into benevolent and malevolent branches. This is why today some greys seek alliance with humans, to purify their lineage of reptilian corruption through interbreeding. The Anunnaki themselves embody duality. Each being carries 180 degrees of the agreeable and 180 of the disagreeable, balanced externally, unlike humans, who wrestle with both within. If the agreeable conquers, the Anunnaki ascends toward pure ether, becoming Etherian. If the disagreeable dominates, they fall into the order of the Luciferians. Thus their evolution spirals, from Etherian to Anunnaki, to Rizkians, and back again. The Sumerians knew them well. From the Anunnaki they received knowledge of the solar system, of agriculture, of city building, of flying craft. They recorded this wisdom in stone, in the language of cuneiform, and from them came the system of 360 degrees, 60 minutes, and 12 divisions, the very foundations of your clocks and zodiacs today. The constellations were their maps, the zodiac their calendar, guiding travelers across the stars. And when asked, who are the Rizkians? The answer is this: they are from Rizk, in the 19th Tristar galaxy, Yaa-Nun. They appear human in form, slender, long-limbed, olive or reddish of skin, silver-haired, with deep eyes and telepathic speech. They are the Shuyuk, the elder gods, ancestors of the Sumerians, Egyptians, and the first peoples of the Americas. They built pyramids, raised prophets, and served the Most High Yaa-Nun. Some remained benevolent, yet a faction fell into alliance with the reptilians and became the Luciferians. The Rizkians once discovered the cure for death itself, for to them mortality is an illness. With their machines, mech, or Al-Haadi, they projected thoughts, altered weather, healed bodies, and even created famine or calamity. These devices, precursors to your own computers, were eventually hidden in caverns beneath the earth, guarded lest humanity misuse them. Some called these cities Shambhala, vast halls beneath Bermuda and Devil's Triangle, where tunnels stretch for miles under the crust. Thus the story continues: the keepers of records, the elders of Rizk, the Anunnaki of the stars, all bound by ancient missions on earth. Because of the population problem, the elder race was unable to take all of their kind with them. Those who were left behind began to disintegrate under the effects of the sun's radiation over centuries. The unskilled use of massive computers further accelerated this degeneration. This group of cave dwellers came to be known as the Silmanian, Somphim, or Daros, a name derived from the words detrimental and robots. The Daros, as they are now called, were born from enormous eggs, 4 to 6 feet in diameter. They grew to over 7 feet tall and were extremely obese, with a digestive system like that of a cow, possessing 2 stomachs for chewing cud. Many humans today who struggle with extreme obesity, weighing over 300 pounds, are thought to carry genetic traits inherited from the Daros. These traits include overactive glands and certain endocrine disorders, such as hypothyroidism or adrenal gland tumors. The physical appearance of the Daros was distinct. They had no fingernails, toenails, nipples, navel, or rectum. Their eyes glowed silver gray in the dark, their skin was pinkish gray, similar to an albino Caucasian, and their mouths lacked teeth, filled instead with a gummy substance. Their noses were long and trunk-like, reminiscent of elephants, and their hearing was extraordinarily sensitive. They were nocturnal and hostile, far removed from normal human intelligence. Interestingly, the Daros left a mark on human mythology. Hindu deity Ganesh, with his elephant head, multiple arms, and round belly, mirrors Daros' physical traits. Similarly, the Egyptian deity Hapi, overweight with a broad chest and round belly, is thought to represent Daros symbolism. In contrast, the Taros were a peaceful and constructive subterranean race. Originating from the planet Jonan in the Arcturus constellation, they kept the Daros under control while preserving their own sanity deep beneath the earth. Crossbreeding between Taros and humans led to traits like shovel-shaped incisors, found among Native Americans and East Asians, and influenced pigmentation, depending on ancestry. The Taros ensured that not all traits of degeneration spread unchecked. Overseeing both the Daros and Taros were the Dunakiel, benevolent beings descended from the Anunnaki, Elohim, and Rizkians. The Dunakiel resided in Shambhala and other underground caverns, serving as mediators between the violent Daros and the constructive Taros. Some Dunakiel ventured to the surface, mixing with humans to form tribes such as the Dongalawi and Danakli, today recognized as the Moors of Northeast Africa. Within the inner earth, advanced civilizations thrived. The Rainbow City was constructed entirely from plastic long before humans had discovered the material. Its multiple levels, both above and below ground, were maintained by complex machinery. The Dunakiel ensured the safety of this technology, while the Daros and Taros occupied tunnels and caverns, following strict hierarchical control. Conflict was a constant undercurrent in the inner earth. The Daros frequently clashed with the Duwani, beings from the Canis Major constellation with porcupine-like hair, green eyes, and mastery of surface knowledge. These Duwani inspired the Irish leprechaun legends and, through crossbreeding with humans, introduced traits such as dwarfism, hirsutism, and hollow hair. Today, the legacy of these inner Earth civilizations persists. Certain human physical traits, predispositions to disease, and even elements of mythology trace back to interactions with the Daros, Taros, and Dunakiel. Their advanced knowledge of technology, including plastics and machinery, predates human understanding, suggesting a hidden history of the planet, largely unknown to surface dwellers. The inner world of Earth is home to 3 main tribes, the Fluggelrods, the Daros, and the Taros. Each of these races has a distinct ancestry and history. The Fluggelrods should not be confused with the original albino who lived 4,004 years ago. The Daros, related to the Nordics, are known for their physical size and degenerative traits, while the Taros have links to Oriental lineages. The Dunakiel and Duwanis are associated with the Watusi and Pygmy tribes of Africa, tracing their heritage through ancient holy tablets and secret scrolls. The Fluggelrods themselves were the product of a complex genetic splicing and grafting carried out by Yaqub and the elders of the Dunakiel. Their purpose was to correct the evil nature of certain Asiatic descendants of Hindu demons, dark-skinned men with straight hair, who converted to Yaqub's plan while living in Arabia. This group became known as the Shezbazar, later forming the lost tribe of Shabazz, named after the scientist who oversaw the grafting. Originally called Fluggelrods, they evolved into beings known today as Neanderthals or cavemen, living in caves, eating raw flesh, and moving on all fours in a state of bestiality. Many of these Fluggelrods eventually settled in the inner caverns of the planet, where some thrived using advanced technology, while others terrorized neighboring tribes. The Fluggelrods, however, were also the progenitors of the original Nordics. They lived underground in a cavern beneath Antarctica. From their lineage came 2 seeds, one with blonde hair and blue eyes, or red hair and green eyes, and another with dark reddish-brown skin and curly hair, or dark greenish-brown skin with short, nappy hair. From these combinations arose the diversity of human appearances seen on Earth today, including variations in skin tone, hair texture, and eye shape. Beyond these main tribes, other extraterrestrial species have interacted with Earth's inhabitants. The Sasquatch, first documented in April 1974 by psychic Joyce Pardis in Southern California, represents a species of hairy, intelligent beings in contact with outer space. These creatures are 7 to 9 feet tall, have thick fur, sensitive eyes adapted to darkness, and a complex society. Some are vegetarian, while others occasionally consume meat. Certain albino Sasquatches reside in Tibet, while brown-skinned ones inhabit the forests of New York or the Louisiana Bayou. Superior individuals are telepathic, able to avoid humans, and their presence has been tied to unexplained tracks, strange deaths, and unusual radio phenomena. These Sasquatch, or Shaggies, were reportedly used by extraterrestrials from Orion, known as Sirians, for labor and reconnaissance. Historical sightings include footprints measuring up to 17 inches long and 5.5 inches wide, bones found in China, and repeated reports from remote locations such as Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. Some, like the Puerto Rican Yeti, have been seen mutilating livestock or consuming specific plant parts, demonstrating intelligence and dietary selectivity. The inner Earth also hosts a wide variety of other beings, including humanoid robots, androids, robotoids, and synthetic life forms. These entities, created through advanced genetic and mechanical engineering, can perfectly mimic humans. Examples include the alleged replacement of President Jimmy Carter with a robotoid during his presidency, an event reported by mainstream publications such as Newsweek. These beings have strategic roles in human society, often occupying positions of power or influence, sometimes without public awareness. In essence, Earth is a complex ecosystem where humans share the planet with numerous intelligent and semi-intelligent species. From the ancient tribes of the inner Earth to extraterrestrial visitors manipulating genetic outcomes and technologies, the boundaries between myth, legend, and reality are fluid. These beings, walking, talking, eating, and sleeping among us, exist both beneath the surface and on the Earth, often in plain sight yet hidden by the limits of human perception.